academia has, I don't think you've ever seen such a seismic shift in how every single university in the United States and the world has shifted into a completely online model. Again, it gets at, so we talked about a little bit, like what type of opportunities exist out there. If for whatever reason, it seems like most people ended up with Zoom as the provider. Um, just for us personally at FGCU, we use Canvas as our learning management system, and the online capability that was supposed to be there didn't work the first day. So a lot of us, at least at FGCU and within the School of Entrepreneurship, we got together. We looked at what the alternatives were at that point, so that way we could provide the best experience to our students. And Zoom was the answer. I mean, we're talking on Zoom right now. There's opportunities out there when this type of stuff happens. So it's been interesting. Luckily, this semester I have classes that are easily transferable to an online setting, so it hasn't been too much of a hassle there. And it's been interesting. It's been fun. The entire change and kind of pace of life is very different. It's nice, kind of like it's great to be able to like do my class up in my office and then walk right downstairs and like dinner's ready and let's have a drink, and versus you would have to do like all the stuff at the office, talk to people, head out, whatever it might be. So it's different. I'm counting myself extremely lucky right now that I'm in a profession and I have businesses that are kind of COVID proof right now. So that's very nice. I count myself extremely lucky that I haven't had to go through what other people are going through in terms of being laid off or not really knowing what's going on with their next paycheck or whatever it might be. So in terms of my businesses, I think there's been some people reaching out, asking some of the questions that you're asking, what do we do right now? Because it is obviously extremely scary for a lot of these people in terms of they've been running these businesses for a long time potentially, or they're just getting started with their business and they're stuck now because they don't really know what they should do. They don't really have things set up to transfer all of their business from an offline model to maybe like an online model or something like that. So that's really been a lot of the questions that have been going on in terms of kind of that type of consulting. Some of the people that I kind of consult with that are doing e-commerce, though, they're like knocking it out of the park right now. They have, I have a range of people that I work with. Some of them are in very like impulse buy type of product markets with their e-commerce stores, and they're like raking it in because people are just stuck at home scrolling through social media and they're seeing these products come up on their feed and they're like, oh, that's really cool, I'm going to get that. So again, there's opportunities out there right now that some people are doing really, really well because it's just shifted things in their direction for their business model. So that's been kind of interesting. In terms of some of the stuff that I do then with businesses, investors mostly who are looking for investment opportunities and stuff, that seems to be on the back burner right now. Unfortunately, it's just now is not the time for investing, unfortunately, in startups and stuff. So you're probably going to see that take a hit over the first. Yeah, sorry, man. I feel you. Yeah, it's
for all of our listeners that can't see this video, I'm pointing to myself as Dr. Lortie saying that Fieldr, we're looking to be raising some angel funding, or a seed round of some fundraising, and that has been put on the back burner. That has been delayed due to this situation. So
so here again, with every negative there's a positive, right? So all of the money that's on the sidelines right now, it's on the sidelines, but it's coming from all of these different areas. People are pulling money out of equities. People are pulling money out of other investments that they might have had. So there's just tons of cash on the sidelines right now, which sucks for people like you that might have a startup, a growing business, and you're looking to maybe raise some money. And like, now is the time. The good news obviously is, again, as soon as we get out of this, you're going to see a huge wave of money just flow back in. It is going to come back in. And again, it's you see this with these types of like once in a decade events. 9/11 happens, the economy takes a hit, people get scared, people pull their money out, investment in equities goes down. Angel investors aren't investing, VCs aren't investing, and then 2002, 2003. By the time 2003 rolls around, like we are booming again, and people are like just dumping money into whatever they can. Same exact thing happens in '08. The housing market completely crashes. Lots similar to today. Lots of people are losing their jobs. Businesses are struggling. We're looking at government bailouts. People are pulling their money out. But as soon as 2010, 2011 comes around and you start to see investments pick up again, we've been on that same exact recovery from 2011 till a couple of months back. It was a 10-year run of just really good times for a lot of people. You're going to see the same thing. When we talk about like what's some words of encouragement, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Hopefully, hopefully once we get there, it's not too long. Hopefully, it's not something that's going to take a long time to get to. But regardless, however long it does take, eventually we're going to get there, and there will be everything is going to come back because it's just that's the cycle. It's how the economy works. It's not going to change now. It's just going to be different. The same way things were different after 9/11, things were different after the Great Recession. Things will be different after this, but it doesn't mean that the economy is not going to come back. So,
Excellent. Yeah, that's definitely encouraging for sure. And I was introduced to this book. Maybe you've heard of it, The Fourth Turning by Neil Howe and William Strauss. So,
okay.
To put it into my own words, and I hope I don't butcher this much, one of my mentors introduced this book to me. Essentially, it's taken, I want to say decades, maybe definitely decades, possibly into centuries worth of economical patterns. And you touched on this seems to be an every decade, scenario. That's kind of what this book dissects and even labels them as the fall season, fall, winter, spring, summer seasons that don't spread out over a quarter like the actual
like annually,
right, actually, like a 12, 18, 24 month period are each of these seasons, and so we kind of see throughout the decade those four different seasons, throughout that economical transition. And so it was August. I was having a meeting with one of my mentors, and we were talking about possibly putting some money into the real estate market. And he pulled the reins on it real quick and said, I highly encourage you not to dump anything into anything real estate related for the next 12 to 18 months, because, and he then again related to this Fourth Turning book, he foresaw we were well on the way to some form of an economical recession through 2020 into early 2021. And I'm having a conversation with a mentee of mine this morning about the same kind of topic, very coincidental. And I'm wondering if for whatever, by nature, for whatever reason, this is that scenario that our world, our history seems to repeat itself.
Yeah, it's a good analogy. I definitely like the analogy of like the seasons. That makes a lot of sense to me. It's just it is the pattern that we see it. I am not an economics person, but I understand it enough. I had to take enough of the classes, and within our research, we incorporate economic ideas when we need to, and it's a well-established economic principle that markets go up and markets go down, economies go up and economies go down. The run that we had from the Great Recession, so that recovery that started in like 2010 up until a month or two ago, basically, of 2020, that was basically one of the longest runs of prolonged growth that we've really seen in the United States and in the world, I think ever. Go back and look at it, and what you'll basically see is normally, if you're looking at like that analogy of kind of fall, winter, spring, and summer, like we had a super super long spring and summer. I'm gonna assume that's how like the book would say.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like it normally lasts 3, 4, 5 years, and then you get into fall and you get into winter. This one lasted 10 years. Um, People made a lot of money in the stock market. Companies made a lot of money with a really, really good economy in terms of purchasing power that was out there, in terms of consumers having paychecks reliably, a lot of employment, so things were really, really good for a really long time. And I think that's, I'm not an economist, so I don't have the necessarily the expertise to say this for sure, but just my personal opinion, I think you're going to see that kind of continue, where the longer you're going to end up with much longer good times, because that seems to be like we're getting better as a society, as a world. There, the research that we do on businesses, the research that economists do, the research that medical doctors do, it makes things work better. So I think what you're seeing is the economy will continue to have these ebbs and flows, but it's like what we're seeing with this last one. The next one will probably last just as long, if not longer, hopefully. And that would be really, really great, because a lot of people, not just in the United States, but I mean, people across the world, developing nations that benefit from these types of things. You're talking about 7.5 billion people on the the world, in the world this nowadays. And just, it's amazing how much economic prosperity can help all of these people when we have these better, longer economic life cycles that are positive instead of negative. So hopefully it comes back that way. That is the benefit of kind of this future looking mentality. But it's funny, man, because like I talk to people that don't have that type of mentality. They have a more backwards time mentality, like they live in the past, or they live in the present a little too much, or they're more short term oriented in their thinking, and they are not thinking that way, unfortunately. Like they're too caught in the right now, and I think that paralyzes people from doing things to get ready for, like, it. I get you, like, it's bad. I completely understand, and like it's not a good time for a lot of people, but it's like, the way I look at it is, it's coming back. What can I do now to prepare myself for that? Because it will come back. That book is smart, the way that it lays out that analogy of, like, it's going to be summer again eventually. Like, you
Right.
better start getting ready for it in winter, when you're holed up in your house, not able to go out. Like, now is the time. Yeah.
Absolutely. No, that's beautiful. I liked how you kind of put that. And yeah, no, for a lack of better words, you mentioned there will be a light at the end of the tunnel. We will absolutely see the other side of this. And
Yeah.
and also to kind of spill off a little bit. I'm in an accelerator program right now, and we have our monthly check-ins, and I'm sorry, weekly check-ins. And each time they ask, give us one word how you're feeling right now. My word's pretty much been the same the entire time, and it's been opportunistic.
Yeah.
That's exactly what comes to my mind, is seizing what opportunity can I seize right now? What can I take advantage of to innovate, to do better, to do faster, to deliver, just a better product, better service to my customers, during this type of time. What can I do different? How can I look at this situation in a different perspective that I definitely, without a doubt, was not looking at before, because I didn't
Yeah.
have this sort of this crisis situation staring me at the face. So no, it's all great points, all great points, all
Yeah,
very
it's
helpful points.
it's this is the mentality that, what we see successful entrepreneurs, they have that mentality.
Right.
It's something, we say we try to teach it, to people, when they come into a university setting, and they're looking at degree options, and they see like entrepreneurship, like, what do I get from an entrepreneurship undergrad degree? And like, we say that, like, we're trying to teach this way of thinking, this type of mentality of being opportunistic. It's, that word that you're saying, being aware of opportunities, being able to understand whether or not they're good opportunities or bad opportunities. And I think we can teach that. I think that we do a pretty good job of teaching
Hmm.
that. But then at the same time, I know for a fact that some people are just much better able to do it than others. Um, and yeah, you're certainly one of those people who, you can see coming up through our classes and stuff. It's like, he's gonna be okay no matter what he falls into. It doesn't really matter, because you're always out there looking. You're scanning the environment. You're seeing
Hmm.
what's happening. You're future oriented in what's happening, and that's the type of mentality that you really do need, especially in times like this. Because if you didn't, it's like I said, some of the people that I've been talking to, they're stuck, and it's like, you try to talk to them, and you're like, look at what else could be happening, though. Like, what could you be doing right now? And they're like, nothing. Like, I can't do anything. It's like, well, that's not quite true. That's the mentality that you're just stuck with, that you don't think you can do anything. Like, you can be doing things right now, and you can be just
Absolutely.
planning for the future, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Um, Again, it's unfortunate. I get it. Like, I'm in a situation where I'm not having to deal with it as bad as other people are having to deal with it. So I get that that's probably some of it. Um, but it's, people are, I know guys that are laying people off, and they're just stuck. And it's like, what are you doing though to make sure that you can hire those people back? And they're not,
Hmm.
they're very much stuck in what it is. And it's, now's the time. Like
Almost just
start.
accepting that that's what's happening, that's
Yeah.
the way it's going to go, and that there's no fixing it, that there's no turning this back around, which
Yeah.
not quite the way to ought to look at it. So, but
Yeah, again, when we talk about these types of things, these external shocks to the environment, you don't have control over it. The same way we don't have control over when it's going to stop. We don't have control over future government assistance. We don't have. So again, it's a very, I have to look to the future, but I also have to be uh, I have to be internally focused on the things that you can control. And ultimately, in a time like this, it's your business, it's the opportunities that you're working on as an entrepreneur, it's the future startups that you're thinking about now that you're trying to go out and validate, because you can see that things are going to be different once we do come out of this. Like there's going to be a huge demand for X,
mm,
because now everything's different, and that people aren't going to want to do this because they're afraid of future pandemics now. It's everything that changed again after 9/11, everything that changed after the recession in terms of mortgage loans, and there's going to be opportunities out there. And having that mindset, that entrepreneurial mindset of future oriented towards what's the next opportunity then, and work on it now. Like now is the time, because everybody's got time on their hands. How are you going to spend it? I have been spending it working on my tan at the pool. There's someone out there who's not spending it that way though. You know what I mean? Like there's someone out there who is spending their time not at the pool working on their tan. They're spending it like on the new opportunity that they've spotted, that they're trying to work on, that they're laying the groundwork and the foundation for it right this second, because that's going to be the next big thing in the future with once we get out of this. So if I think if anybody takes anything away from this, it, things are going to change, they're going to get
yeah,
better. How can you set yourself up for that, whether it's your current business, a future business, you personally, how do you set yourself up for taking advantage of the way things are going to be in the
yeah,
future? So
yeah. Be a part of the change, take advantage of the change, and
yeah.
absolutely, I love it. I love it. Well, on that note, I believe you're on social media. Do you
I
want to
am.
share what your social media handles are for all of our
Yeah,
listeners if they want to find you?
people can definitely find me professionally through LinkedIn. So if you just search for my name, Jason Lortie, you'll obviously see the spelling that Connor will provide for you. I'm always happy to connect with people on LinkedIn, just in a professional sense, if they're looking for help, consulting
Hmm.
help, whatever it might be. Um, I'm also on, so we have a social media network for academics, ResearchGate. You could definitely find me on ResearchGate. If you do a search for me, you can see all my publications and stuff like that. Instagram, I'm pretty active on Instagram. I'm not the most interesting follow, but I think if you're interested in seeing well cooked food and dogs, I am the follow on
I
Instagram,
sure.
because
I bet you'll get a pretty large audience out of that. I feel like
yeah.
everyone loves well cooked food and
Yeah, so
dogs.
it's Doctor, actually spelled out, so DOCTOR_JLO, JAYLO. Yeah, yeah. So normally we go out to really nice restaurants because we love trying new food and new places and stuff. But we cook quite a bit as well. Obviously now we're just cooking at home. But yeah, we take pride in having nice meals, and uh, so it's definitely a place. But we have
As
three
you should.
dogs then. Yeah, we have three dogs at home then too. So like it's a lot of time with the dogs and pictures of dogs and stuff like that. So you can also just find me at just jasonlordy.com. So that's my professional, just personal website if you're looking for information on contacts and stuff like that. So
Perfect, perfect, perfect. You heard it here then. Awesome. Well, I appreciate it. Everyone, I hope you really enjoyed this episode. Episode 3, sustainability through metrics. Of course, with the focus, on this whole pandemic crisis situation. Re-listen to this one. Rewatch our YouTube video on this. Dr. Lordy was kind enough to share a ton of gold information, especially I believe on the metrics. I think that's going to really, really help alleviate some pressure and stress from a lot of businesses, being able to understand, well, hey, I know that line on that chart is on the decline right now for this month and maybe the months to come, but what are other metrics that we could be engaging and should be engaging in to ensure that, hey, we're still sustainable, we're still going to come out on the other side of this. So re-listen to that, take some notes, write that down. That's been helping us as a company. Dr. Lodi's been super kind to be working with Fieldr, and we've been greatly appreciative of it. So yeah, rewatch, re-listen, check out episode 1, 2. This is episode 3. Episode 4 will be coming out in a week. But again, for now, love this one, listen to this one, and we appreciate it. Dr. Lortie, I appreciate you hopping on as a guest for this episode. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. I absolutely enjoyed it. I'd be happy to come back
Yeah,
whenever you
would
guys
love
want.
to.
So
Yeah, absolutely. Cool.
cool.
Well, excellent. Well, listeners, we appreciate you. We hope everyone has a good day, has a good weekend coming up whenever you get to listen to this. And Dr. Lordy just mentioned there at the end about tanning in the sun. Wherever you are, do get outside.
Yeah.
Have that laser like focus. Be productive. Be opportunistic. But get outside. Get some vitamin D. Get some fresh air in your lungs. You don't want to overload yourself and drive yourself too crazy staying inside.
I completely agree. All of these
Yeah,
stay-at-home orders
yeah,
are,
balance. All about balance.
yeah,
Right?
it's stay at home, stay out of big groups of people, but at
Yeah,
the same time, you're more than welcome to be outside.
yeah.
Take
Pull
a
out a lawn
walk.
chair. Yeah, take a
Yeah,
walk. Pull out a lawn
exactly.
chair. Take the dog for a walk. Absolutely. You have to
Whatever it
take the
might
dog
be.
for a walk. Whatever it
Absolutely.
might
Yeah.
be. Right. Awesome. Well, thank you, everyone. We appreciate it. We'll let you go, and we look forward to the next one. Everyone, we'll see you on the other side. Bye now.